The Death Valley Germans. On the 28th of July, 1996, Heike Weber was growing increasingly concerned. Her ex-husband and their son had been on a trip to California with another family, and they'd been scheduled to return to Germany on a flight the day before. As Heike dug deeper, she realized they had never boarded their flight, and what started as a slight worry over delayed travel plans quickly turned into a gut-wrenching mystery. Egbert Rimkus, a 34-year-old with a zest for adventure, his 11-year-old son Georg, his girlfriend Cornelia Meyer, and her 4-year-old son Max set out in the summer of 1996 to explore the rugged beauty of the American West. They arrived in Los Angeles on July 8, 1996, renting a green Plymouth Voyager minivan for their road trip. Over the next few weeks, they traversed the landscapes of Southern California and Nevada, venturing into Death Valley National Park on July 22nd. Death Valley, known for its unforgiving heat and treacherous terrain, regularly sees temperatures soaring above 120 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, creating an environment as deadly as it is beautiful. Their first night was spent in the remote Hanapaw Canyon, and the following day was filled with exploration. The last known trace of the group was Cornelia Meyer's signature in the visitor's log of an abandoned mine, a haunting final clue to their intended path. By the time Heike Weber realized that her ex-husband and his family might be in danger, they had already been lost in Death Valley for 5 days. With no leads, the search for the family stalled until October 21st, when a park ranger helicopter found the abandoned van in Anvil Springs Canyon, an exceptionally remote area of the park. The rocky terrain had damaged the tires on the van, and searchers found a tent, sleeping bag, and car jack next to it. However, there was no sign of Rimkus or his family. Over 200 search and rescue workers attempted to find signs of the lost family, but nothing was found except a single beer bottle. The search was called off on October 26th. The German family seemed to have disappeared into thin air. The mystery of the Death Valley Germans, as it became known, endured for over a decade. Theories abounded, with one prevailing hypothesis suggesting that the group had tried to backtrack to a tourist spot they'd visited earlier in their trip, and their van had gotten damaged. Abandoning the van in a desperate effort to survive, they became lost and disoriented in the scorching heat of the desert with few supplies. However, it wasn't until 2009 that the relentless dedication of off-duty search and rescue team members Les Walker and Tom Mahood, inspired by discussions with researcher Emmett Harder, unveiled the grim reality while revisiting a previously dismissed theory. What if the family, armed with only a map, had tried to make it to the nearby Naval Air Weapons Station China Lake before they died from the heat? Venturing south of the van on November 17, 2009, the determined searchers unearthed the final resting place of Rimkus and Meyer, casting a sliver of light on a dark mystery that had remained unsolved for 13 years. Yet, with the children still missing, this discovery offered only partial closure, leaving a heart-rending chapter partially open and vital questions unanswered. What caused the Germans to abandon the damaged but operable van and venture into the desert on foot? Why were their supplies left near the van? And what ultimately happened to the children? These questions ensure that the mystery of the Death Valley Germans persists, a haunting reminder of the human stories lost in the indomitable desert. The lost underground city of Shin-Au-Av. In the depths of Death Valley's scorching and unforgiving desert, while exploring an abandoned mineshaft in the 1920s, a miner named White plummeted through the rock floor and into the middle of a stunning scene. He found himself in a mysterious tunnel filled with gleaming gold, its walls inexplicably illuminated by a soft yellow light. Surrounded by human mummies clad in leather, White had unwittingly stumbled upon what appeared to be the ruins of an ancient underground city, a discovery that would challenge the boundaries between myth and reality. Fearful of being trapped, White found his way back to the mineshaft and escaped. Though he aimed to return, White never found the entrance again. This mysterious ancient city, long whispered about in the tales of the Southern Paiute native peoples, was said to be ruled by the benevolent spirit Shin-Au-Av. According to legend, an ancient Paiute chief, heartbroken by the death of his wife, sought to follow her spirit into the underworld. Guided by the spirits of deceased warriors, he navigated a network of subterranean tunnels, confronting formidable beasts and malevolent spirits, until he reached the outskirts of Shin-Au-Av's domain. There, he was met by Shin-Au-Av's daughter, who promised him a reunion with his wife's spirit under one condition. He must not look back as he led her back to the living world. However, the chief's fleeting glance back caused his wife's spirit to vanish, leaving him to return alone with tales of the incredible city. The story of this underground city resurfaced outside of legend in 1947 when amateur archaeologist Howard Hill recounted the adventures of two acquaintances named F. Bruce Russell and Daniel Bovey to the Los Angeles Transportation Club. The two men, retired doctors with a penchant for exploration, claimed to have discovered another entrance to the lost city in the vicinity of Wingate Pass, precisely where White had his remarkable encounter. Russell and Bovey reported findings of tunnels covered in hieroglyphics and gold, preserved prehistoric animals, and even mummies of giant men that stood 9 feet tall. Despite presenting their findings to a group of archaeologists, the absence of physical evidence led to their claims being dismissed. Their subsequent disappearance in Death Valley, while searching for more signs of the city, only deepened the mystery. Skeptics often challenge the veracity of these accounts, particularly highlighting the elements that seem lifted straight from the realms of fantasy, such as the tales of giant mummies. This detail strikingly resembles stories found in a 1932 book about Death Valley by Burke Lee, long dismissed as fiction. However, the discovery claimed by White, coupled with the enduring legend preserved by the Southern Paiute, anchors the narrative in a realm of possibility that defies easy dismissal. Without new evidence, the truth behind this mysterious underground city, its golden treasures, and its spectral inhabitants remains one of Death Valley's most captivating mysteries. Beneath Barker Ranch. Isolated in the vast desert of Death Valley, Barker Ranch cast an ominous shadow. The remnants of old buildings, encircled by scrub brush and rocks, marked this dilapidated ranch as distinctly unwelcoming. Its eerie appearance is matched by a grim history. It once served as a hideout for one of the most notorious murder groups in American history, rumored to conceal the bodies of their victims beneath its sands. This group, led by Charles Manson, would come to be known for the infamous Tate LaBianca murders, a series of brutal killings that shocked the nation and forever marked Manson as a symbol of criminal madness. In the late hours of August 8, 1969, and the early morning of the following day, Manson's followers, acting under his direction, murdered actress Sharon Tate and 4 others at her Los Angeles home. The following night, they killed Leno and Rosemary LaBianca in their residence. These murders were characterized by their sheer brutality and the cryptic messages left at the scenes. In September 1969, an unexpected incident in Death Valley National Monument linked the secluded Barker Ranch to these broader crimes. A piece of machinery, known as the Michigan Loader, suddenly caught fire. The loader, which maintenance crews had used to repair roads around a popular dry lake bed, erupted in flames without warning. Dick Powell, a 27-year-old park ranger, was the first to respond to the maintenance crew's distress call, quickly uncovering evidence that the loader had been intentionally sabotaged. As Powell, joined by a combined force of park rangers, highway patrolmen, and local sheriff's deputies, delved deeper, signs emerged that the arson was part of a pattern of disturbances. Campsites littered with trash, stolen dune buggies, and crashed rental cars were discovered at the ends of long vehicle tracks. Tourists reported encounters with a group of hippies riding through the desert all night, their behavior and activities raising suspicions. The puzzle pieces began to fit together as investigations pointed to Barker Ranch. The group, led by a peculiar man in shabby clothes who delivered disturbing sermons, seemed to be using the ranch as their base. His followers, often in altered states of consciousness or wandering the desert unclothed, painted a picture of a cult disconnected from reality. Armed with accumulating evidence, Powell's team prepared to confront the threat. On October 10th, a raid was launched on Barker Ranch, resulting in numerous arrests for suspected arson, grand theft auto, and vandalism. A subsequent raid on October 12th uncovered the group's leader hiding beneath the kitchen sink. Unbeknownst to them at the time, they had apprehended Charles Manson. This arrest would not only close a chapter on one of the most chilling episodes in American criminal history, but also unravel the mysteries surrounding the Manson family's activities at Barker Ranch. In December, authorities established the connection between Manson and the Tate LaBianca murders. Almost immediately, Barker Ranch was scrutinized as a potential burial site for unknown victims of the Manson family. Despite a lack of confessions and tangible evidence, in 2008, advanced soil analysis techniques suggested the presence of human remains. However, further searches failed to uncover any bodies, leaving unanswered questions about the extent of the Manson family's crimes and the final resting places of their victims. The Vanishing of Lieutenant Paul Whipkey. On August 17, 1958, within the desolate expanse of Death Valley, 42 miles from any sign of civilization, an abandoned car was discovered in remarkable condition, its keys still in the ignition, as if waiting for its owner's return. This discovery, made by a fish and game warden, was not just a case of a missing vehicle, but the prelude to a deepening mystery that would intertwine the fate of Lieutenant Paul Whipkey with the realms of classified secrets, potential covert nuclear operations, and the shadows of possible CIA involvement. Lieutenant Paul Whipkey had been stationed at the Fort Ord Army Base on the coast of California until his unexplained departure on July 10th. Offering only vague explanations to his comrades about his destination and reasons for leaving, his failure to return the following day prompted the Army to report him AWOL. With no sign of his return a month later, he was labeled a deserter. It was only a week after this designation that his car was found in Death Valley, 15 miles off the main road and 500 miles from Fort Ord, setting in motion a mystery that would perplex for decades. Standard procedure dictates that a soldier reported as a deserter for 60 days triggers at least a nominal FBI investigation. However, when the FBI began to delve into the disappearance of Lieutenant Whipkey, the agency was met with more questions than answers. Hours after informing his fellow soldiers of his intention to, quote, get a drink, Lieutenant Whipkey checked into a motel in Mojave, California, hundreds of miles away. The following day, he purchased 11 gallons of gas, marking the last official sighting of him. Chris Whipkey, the lieutenant's brother, harbored deep suspicions about the Army's account of his brother's disappearance and embarked on a personal quest for the truth. Despite being informed of his brother's AWOL status on July 11th, a subsequent inquiry on July 12th revealed that the Army had already begun packing up Lieutenant Whipkey's belongings, a hasty action for a soldier missing barely 24 hours. The discovery of Whipkey's car in Death Valley further fueled suspicions, especially after Chris was initially informed of the find, only to be told later that the information was classified. The mystery deepened with the Army's later admission that Lieutenant Whipkey may have been suffering from radiation poisoning, a condition evidenced by sudden moles on his body, the unexpected need for dentures at the age of 25, and a noticeable decline in his physical and mental health. Despite these symptoms, the Army denied any exposure to radiation. It wasn't until 1982, under pressure from Whipkey's brother and growing public interest, that the Army convened a hearing. They cleared Whipkey of wrongdoing, honorably discharged him posthumously, and declared he had died in the line of duty the day after his disappearance, despite the absence of a body or clarity on his supposed duties. Chris Whipkey remains convinced his brother was recruited by the CIA for covert operations, potentially leading to his death in the Soviet Union or at the hands of fellow agents. Others speculate involvement in radiation experiments on American soldiers or witnessing such experiments on prisoners. Despite the theories, the United States Army's steadfast silence on the matter has only solidified the mystery surrounding the fate of Lieutenant Paul Whipkey. The Lost Fogal Mine. Stories of lost mines are a staple of the American West, a lasting legacy of the mid-19th century gold rush that captivated the nation. Many of these legends are just that, tales that have long lost any connection to verifiable facts. In contrast, the story of the lost Fogal mine maintains a direct link to reality. At the very least, it's the tale of a successful miner whose greatest discovery may have been lost to the desert in the march of time. The 1848 discovery of gold in California ignited a nationwide frenzy for instant wealth. The following year, hundreds of thousands of prospectors flooded into the state, including Charles and Joshua Fogal. Unlike the vast majority of miners in California, the Fogals achieved notable success in their quest for gold, with Charles returning to their home in New York in December of 1850 with $20,000 earned from their mining operations. Charles returned to California in 1852, settling in Oakland and engaging in public service as a city assessor in 1854 and as treasurer in 1859. A brief stint in jail following a $6,500 discrepancy in city funds reignited Charles's love of adventure, prompting him in 1862 to abandon his life in Oakland to pursue silver mining in Nevada. This point is where fact merges with legend. While planning his next move in Nevada, Charles Fogal reportedly encountered a group of miners following a vague map of the territory. The intentions of these men vary in accounts. Some suggest they were searching for silver, while others claim they were attempting to join the Confederate forces in Texas. Sensing an opportunity, Fogal joined them in their venture into the depths of the Nevada territory. One night, the other men were killed by Native American warriors. Having slept away from the camp, Fogal survived and wandered the desert for days, eventually discovering an isolated oasis. Here, he found an outcropping of quartz teeming with deposits of gold before being captured by a local native tribe. Eventually landing in Austin, Nevada, Fogal spent the next 26 years of his life launching expeditions to find the oasis. He never succeeded. To this day, the exact location of this discovery remains a mystery, with some accounts placing it in the vicinity of Death Valley, while others suggest it was further north, near central Nevada's rugged mountains. Whatever the case, Fogal's months of captivity with the native tribe prevented him from retracing a clear path from the beginning of his journey in 1862 to the oasis that had saved his life. Thus, the truth behind the Fogal mine might forever remain an elusive piece of history. Have you ever visited Death Valley and experienced anything unusual or unexplainable? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching Dark 5. Like and subscribe to continue exploring the greatest mysteries of this world and beyond.